There's a lot of hype right now around AI agents and OpenClaw, and everyone's showing futuristic demos, autonomous AI, systems that can run your business. But most of the explanations are so technical that they just create more confusion. And as a business owner, you don't care about the jargon. You care about what it is, how does it work, and should I be using it? See, I've implemented this technology with real businesses every single day and saving tens of thousands per year. And what I can tell you is this: AI agents and OpenClaw are built on completely different philosophies. When I was speaking to most businesses, this is how they see an AI agent work. When a customer interacts with an AI agent, that could be whether it's on the phone or over a chatbot, how they see it as the agent connects up to your AI agent, and then that goes and looks into the CRM. It finds a client, it adds them to any details if they're booking something in. It'll add them to the calendar. It'll then go through to the emails and then send off any confirmation emails or whatnot. And it all writes itself, all that kind of thing. So in essence, this is what it's doing, but it really doesn't paint the picture of how much control you have over, in this case, an AI agent. Because in reality is the AI agent isn't sifting through your CRM because, there's lots of problems with this. If it's going and deleting data, or it's viewing, accessing sensitive information you don't want it to be viewing. It sounds like it goes through your calendars and it can see every single person and tell the customer, oh, this is when this person's having their booking. Let's delete it and give you the better appointment. Or you're worried that it's going to go through your emails and just start leaking sensitive emails to your customers. This overall would be a terrible implementation of AI and something I do not recommend or ever want people to be implementing. And that's a good reason why people have been very hesitant and skeptical of implementing AI into their business. But this is not really how AI agents work at all. I've actually got a nice diagram here to try and explain it better. Because the reality is, when a customer speaks to an AI agent, the AI agent has a way we like to have it behave. We're given it a knowledge base, everything about your business, but also a guide, we call it a prompt, about how we want it to behave, the kind of words we want it to use, things it cannot do, things it cannot say, all of that. And as you can see here, I've noticed this is controlled by the developer, ourselves. So it's hosted on different platforms, and that means it can only read information about how it can behave. It's not going to change how it reacts. It's not going to suddenly take over your machine and have a mind of its own and do whatever it wants. It can only read how it should behave, and it follows those guidelines. When we want it to do tasks for us, such as like book an appointment in, the reality is the AI agent, all it can really do is hit a button, and I've just done a diagram like this. It can, if it wants to book someone in, it'll check an appointment, press that button, and that will trigger the automation. The automation is the bit that does all the heavy lifting. The AI agent is not accessing data. It's not looking into your records. It's just triggering an automation, which will go and check the calendar for you. And that automation will come back and tell the agent yes or no, or here's the available slots. The agent has no knowledge about anything in your calendar. It just gets given back the only specific things we want it to get back. And as I mentioned, the automation is built using a platform like NA10 or Make.com, but what you really need to know is it's kind of code-based. It's just running through a very strict, 100% reliable task, and code, it's secure. There's no AI involved in that at all, and it means that everything behaves expected and you're not leaking any sensitive information or giving it across to the AI. And you can have multiple tools when it comes to AI, so they can just press multiple different buttons. So what you can see from this really is the security of that. So an example of an AI agent would be, of course, if a customer requests to book in, our prompt, if it's going to handle a booking, it must trigger the check calendar tool. If that returns a success, then trigger the book appointment tool. And then as it's read that, the AI agent will communicate with the customer with voice, and then go and trigger the check calendar automation. That will return the slots available, communicate with the customer. Yep, let's decide that slot. That sounds great. We know it's available. Let's then trigger that specific time slot to be booked in by an automation. That way, there's no, we can't get the customer asking any extra information, say, tell me when this person's booked in for. Well, it can check timings of a calendar, but the automation can't actually find out specific timings of a person because it does one thing and one thing only, which is what we want. That's why in the real world, for customer interactions, an AI agent has been so powerful. And it's that misconception about how they work that's caused a lot of business owners to want to really be hesitant about it. Now, before we go on to how OpenClaw is useful, if you don't know who I am, I'm Harry, and I've been helping multiple businesses integrate voice AI into their business in order to increase their number of leads through booking appointments and multiple other different automations. And if you're looking for the same yourself, you can book a one-to-one call with me down below. We can have a chat, go through it, decide really is it the best thing for you, if there's any other opportunities you could be taking advantage of. And if you're really unsure about the kind of financial benefits you can reap from this, well, I've got a free tool down below. You put your information in and it can find out how much missed calls could be costing you, and you'll get a free report sent to your email, everything you need just down there. So feel free. Let's get back to the video. And now that's when comes into OpenClaw, which acts very differently to how an AI agent works. Let's put it as if a customer that is communicating with OpenClaw, and this is going to reveal a bit of the concerns that there is with OpenClaw, but also the power of OpenClaw and where we can use it differently to customer interactions, which I'll explain later in this video. So for now, customer, if it goes and talks to OpenClaw, what OpenClaw can do, it behaves similarly. It can view our knowledge base. It can have a guide on how it behaves, but as you can see, I've written here, it's got read and write access, so it can update itself. If it realizes that, oh, customers are asking for certain things a certain way, I need to behave a bit differently to how I've been programmed to. And the owner of this knowledge base and how it behaves is the AI agent itself. It is the one that creates it. I can communicate with it and tell it, I want you to behave slightly differently for me. And then it will update its own knowledge base. So it is really like a member of staff in that way, rather than a coded agent which has performed specific tasks. The difference of this as well is that this agent is hosted in its own private computer, or a VPS, which is just a computer server on the cloud. It's somewhere external, a different computer, somewhere else you can access to. And I've put this in red because really there's a lot of security concerns when it comes to VPSs, and that's a lot of creators aren't talking enough about. A lot of the people like myself have been using Hostinger, but not if you don't properly set it up with the amount of security, then it's quite open to the public, so which is a very big concern, and why there's a lot of hesitation why people should be using OpenClaw, particularly when it comes to sensitive information. So this here, it knows how to behave, it knows about your business, and it can update itself, so it can get very, very knowledgeable about what you do. And it can create its own automations about how it behaves certain tasks. Again, not made by a single developer. This is made by the AI itself, but it can also access tools such as the internet. It can access Gmail. You can give it access to LinkedIn. You can give it access to your calendar and multiple other things. And if it realizes it doesn't have a tool, before we'd have to build it something. In this case, it can tell you, in order to do this task, I really need access to this. I need to install this tool. It knows where to download that from. And if you give it permission to do, it'll then go ahead and create that tool and add it to your pile here of tools it can use. And as you realize, over time, it can build up more and more tools and get more and more advanced, which is where this gets very exciting. But of course, is also where it reveals its slight flaws, because if a customer wants to request something and the agent says, well, I can't do that, but why don't I create a tool that allows you to do that? That opens the massive privacy and security concerns. So here's an example, though, of where it could be useful. So, of course, as I explained, this really is not good for customers. We don't want them to have access to this kind of information. This is more used for you or your staff members. So I'll put that in here. And this scenario is a real good one, where it can email 20 cold leads for you. So it goes back to its knowledge base and prompt, and it asked, based on what you know about your business, let's research some good companies on Google. Let's find the CEO emails on LinkedIn, draft a personalized emails for them. So this is the plan it's created, and it's drafted it so that them as a staff member or a business owner, I can approve those and send off those emails without having to do much work at all myself. Now decided its plan of action. with that plan, it's first going to go off to the internet. It's going to look for those 20 businesses that could be in need of our service or product, whatever it is. And then based on our business size and what we offer, it will find out what could be the best fit for different businesses. And then also it'll get some information about each company in order to do those personalized emails. So then it pulls that information back. It then realizes, right, now I know the 20 companies, let me find the CEOs. And it will then go to LinkedIn. But in this case, see here, it doesn't have the tool for LinkedIn. It's never used it before. So it'll go back and say, yep, LinkedIn tool's not found. Let's request the account details and install it for us. So now we can actually create that LinkedIn tool. It'll ask us in the chat window and then find the best people to reach out to in each company. It will then go ahead and do that for us. And now, once it's done that, comes back to the agent, it decides, I've got all the information I need. Let me draft all these personalized emails to each company, fill out their email addresses of the CEOs or whatever the best person to reach out to is. And then you have 20 emails sitting in your Gmail account as draft, ready for you to hit send whenever you go through and check them off one by one. You can see that's a huge amount of time saved, but also because it's personalized emails, they're more likely to get through, and you're actually going to know you're going to get better prospects that you're reaching out to rather than just sending thousands of emails out and just praying and hoping that some of those will actually reach people that are qualified for what you offer. So a great example, and something you can see why you'd never really want a staff member to have access to. So now it really comes to the big question. I've explained what they both are. Really, what are then the main differences between the two? So firstly, the location of it. An AI agent, we build it into the software services itself. These are applications that exist on the websites, on the internet. They can be self-hosted. They can be hosted on external servers. You have full control over where they're located. Whereas OpenClaw, really, you have to do all the setup yourself. It's a lot more code-based setup. There's no like application to host it on. You really have to provide the hardware in order to do it yourself. In that case, the hardware could be locally on a laptop, or it could be set up on the cloud. But as you can see, those are going to have to be managed by yourself. It doesn't automate. It doesn't have updates. Whereas for an AI agent, we can have it updated by the application owners. And so any improvements that come through and any security features that come through, you know you're going to be using the most up-to-date one. Whereas this, you have to self-manage it. So the knowledge to build it, an AI agent is going to be a lot more advanced because, as you can see, this has got developer ownership over everything it does. It's completely custom. And in that case, you need to know the best practices to how to make it behave as you want, avoid it going off the rails or behaving unexpectedly. I mean, when it goes off the rails, it's not going to do anything damaging, but it might just not actually work to do the automations you want at the right time. It might get confused, say the wrong thing, but never go and break anything or, access sensitive information. It's just going to be uncertain. So you can just set it up. It's advanced. Whereas when it comes to OpenClaw, really, it's a lot simpler to set up because there is no coding, building. It is just a two-way conversation with it where you ask it, I want you to do more of this. I want you to behave like this. And the agent will come back to you and go, right, I've updated my knowledge base. I've improved myself. I've learned from what you said. I'll make sure I do more of this next time. It's self-learning. So it's easier to set up, but also a bit easier to go off the rails because you might teach it something that in the future you don't want it to do. It gets a bad habit. It is like managing a staff member. If you're good at managing people, it's great. If you're bad at managing people, it can get worse. And therefore, if you want to reverse that process, well, if it's got hundreds and hundreds of logs and conversations and past history, it's a lot harder to go and tweak that and fix it. Whereas an AI agent, you give it one knowledge base, one information about itself. It's not going to change over time, and therefore it's very easy to update and improve yourself and behave reliably. And so security, we'll move on. It's as private as you need it to be. You can host it wherever you want it to be, but OpenClaw, it can be secure, but it requires a lot more knowledge about cloud security, and out of the box, it is not secure at all. It's completely open. It has its own keys, but people can quite easily send off malicious malware, which will access those keys and log in and access your OpenClaw account. So even if you host it on a VPS, unless you're hosting it locally, the security will be potentially a big concern. Now, functionality. AI Agent is really limited to a developer and how it can do things for you. Whereas OpenClaw, what's great about it is it's limited to your imagination. You can tell it whatever you want it to do. You can think of new ideas of what you want it to do, and it will go and do that for you. So you can, anything you think, it will deliver. Whereas a functionality will be, well, whatever the developer thinks for it and builds for it to do, it will do. Unfortunately, it means it will take a bit more time to build and set up. Reliability. An AI agent works as expected each time because a lot of it is code, and the AI agent is deciding what code to trigger. So very reliable, whereas OpenClaw's got more chances to go wrong. And can you improve it? Well, it can be improved by the developers' updates, whereas obviously OpenClaw itself improving, and as a result, it does have a chance to go wrong. And then finally, the best use cases. I'm not going to give you a load of examples. I could probably make a separate video on that if people like that, and let me know down below if you do. For an AI agent, which is really best used for anything that is customer interaction. So a lot of things that I've built have been voice AI specific. So that can be booking calls, FAQs, outbound calls. So if someone clicks on an advert, it can call them up and try and book them in immediately. That's like one of the best use cases for this. It performs specific tasks that you want it to do, but it's not going to be completely open to the elements, open to the world, doing whatever it wants. It's great for that sort of thing. Whereas OpenClaw is really best for internal operations. So if you want it to do personalized research and strategy planning, you can treat it like a staff member, which is more working on the business rather than in the business. That's the best way to put it. There is loads of use cases out there for OpenClaw, and I can recommend lots of different videos on that, or I can share a lot more myself. But as one example goes, if you want to do emails, it will be great for that. You can potentially go, right, every time I get a new email come through, could you read through it and alert me if anything is urgent I need to act on? You can have it do your scheduled tasks every day, where it will reach out to you and say, right, have you done what you planned out to do? Let's decide if it's the best use of your time or not. There is loads of use cases, and that's why it's so exciting at the moment for OpenClaw. So if any of that sounds particularly exciting, what I'd best recommend to do, if you want, start with an AI agent. That's something that you can use. It will give you returnable results that are a bit more reliable. OpenClaw can get more expensive. It can require more expensive hardware, and it has a bigger tendency to go wrong. So as an early bit of tech, this will be something that we'll be looking into the near future. But in the current state of time, we're in February of 2026. It's much more secure and safer to be using AI agents, and it has been proven for months to begin giving returnable results. And if anything like that is something you want to explore, feel free to reach out and book a call with myself. We can go one-to-one with your business, see if it's the best fit for you or not. But also, if you'd like, and you're not really sure quite about what an AI agent can do financially, if it's the worthwhile thing, if you're thinking you're potentially missing calls, I've got a free guide down below. Use the link, fill out the information, and what it will do is give you a personalized report on the potential savings you can make by using an AI agent to capture all your calls for you. As I mean, most businesses I talk to, this is one of the quickest ways to get back returnable results from AI. It's going to increase your bookings, because now when you have calls that will go through and usually missed, now you're going to capture them. Everyone's going to be booked in. It's done for you. Your staff, it doesn't matter whether they're on sick leave, holiday, they're not feeling well under the weather. There's lots of different variables. AI agents are pretty reliable. It's already delivering results for a lot of our clients. And is anything you like that you want to explore, any links down below in the description, feel free to go through and use yourself. So be sure to check out any of the other videos if you want to learn a bit more about AI voice agents. I've got many on the channel about that, and be sure to stick around and subscribe, because I'll be sharing more videos on OpenClaw and how I've been using it, as well as more videos on voice AI, all the likes. Make sure that you're keeping up to date and up to speed with AI, because it's moving fast And particularly with this, it's something that I'm getting very excited about. It's already something I'm implementing into my own business, and I'm starting to see pretty good results from it, which I could expect the same for yourself when you do it yourself too.